Dat is een van dit stuk weg is de enige keer dat ze ook hier nu rechtsop draaien, bovenop de haag. Ook anders draaien ze links richting Leeberg. Dat is er nu niet bij. Hier kunnen ze van dit stuk gebruik maken. Ook de politie. Het is een van die Vlaamse koersen waar je eigenlijk eenmaal gestart voor de volgende 5 uur. In dit geval voor de volgende 5 uur in koers zit. Altijd.
It's Het Nieuwsblad for 2017. This is a chase group of 3. Trying to chase down.
Onto the Dondere. Ian Stannard not so far away from the front in the sky. Oh, we've had a crash behind. Several riders down. Oh dear. A pile-up at Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. Bonen is caught up in it. Tom Bonen not on the ground, but he's caught up behind.
The trio that's up there, but nevertheless, it's the pace is up now. The chase is really starting to happen, and you can see why everyone is now trying to get to the front, going into the cobblestone section.
Minute, riders all over the road. Oh, they're certainly not waiting up. Big movement. Sagan looks like he's still in.
What's that group in front of him? They really pile it on. Stuyven has plenty to think about. We're on the Tyenberg.
Greg van Avermaet there in second wheel as well, last year's winner in the red and black, or more black from BMC.
Stefan Mark in third as well.
Yeah.
He's back with the Cannondale squad, with the Tailwind Sports team. And looking strong, and it's looking good at the moment for Trek Segafredo, going a little bit earlier than they might have wanted to do. A few cracks appearing. Sky trying to get back.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. It's Peter Sagan actually chasing on there. I think that was Luke Rowe on his wheel, trying to hold the wheel at least. Really hard.
Well, the Stefan Mark flag gives you the indication this crosswind is coming from the right-hand side, but they're staying on the right-hand side to get the best of the gutter and get the best of the surface, but they're trying to put this one back together. It's taking a bit of time.
It certainly is, but look how strong Peter Sagan has just crossed that gap, and he's now with the front group.
It's easy when you're talented, isn't it?
Apparently.
He's got the tights on, so I think he probably didn't get the Vita this week, but still he'll take the win if it's coming. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't rule him out, because the Sky team have come with their Crack Classics outfit. They've got Stannard. I think that could well be in Stannard there that finds himself into a chasing position. And it's an interesting situation, Magnus, in that we're relatively early in this race for the leading contenders to be having to burn matches.
Yeah, it is very early on, but at the same time,
It hasn't quite made it yet.
No, I don't think this is the final selection either. I think there are more riders to come, and I think actually, if you're looking back there's another Sky rider on his way, and that may very well be Ian Stannard.
Yeah, I think Stannard was certainly in between. And Luke Rowe would probably be minded not to make an effort here. Yeah,
he doesn't have to. There's teams in here who have 2 riders, and there certainly are the riders who are more keen on making this stick. And certainly when you got a man like the guy in the second wheel here with the world champion stripes on him, you don't really want to be taking too many turns either, because he's such a fast finisher as well. So save everything and try and create something later on.
Yeah, since Stannard has made it, I think that Luke Rowe just rolls to the back. No, there's another. There's 3 Sky have managed to get in there, so the numerical advantage immediately moves to Sky. Stan have got a couple of riders in there, perhaps needing to pick up numbers, but Lawrence de Vries, of course, this goes well in these races. Down to 1 minute and 49 seconds. The gap to the front is coming down. It's more significant, really, those riders that are able to get back into this Group 3 on the
previous editions of this particular weekend. Usually Quickstep mess it up on one of the days. It's either in this one or in Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne. So I don't know how many times it's happened in the past when they've had a really bad opening day in Nieuwsblad, and then come back in fours in Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne and really dominated that one. So seems like
they do have that ability. I suppose if they want to give one up, they'd give up the Omloop for Ronda anytime. Just over 53 kilometers remaining, and while the pace hasn't exactly slackened, it's just the throttle has come off a little bit as riders think about the tactical options, and it's allowing other riders to get back in. Look at the way Group goes scrabbling around, just trying to hang on the wheel at the back of this group. He's maybe regretting going up the road. I think this is what, this is absolutely what he wanted. He was hoping that if he's up the road, that riders are going to come across to him and he can hang on with the big boys. He's a superbly talented rider, but I tell you what, it looks so much easier at the moment for Peter Sagan than it does for Andrei Grivko at the back of this 6-rider group, which is the second group on the road. Sorry. Yep, second group on the road, still the 6 up front, I do believe. And then the third group on the road, 1 minute and 27 seconds, is a big group, a significant group. The question is, where are those Sky riders? Luke Rowe, Ian Stannard, just as if... there's Stannard on the left-hand side, 2-time winner of this race, started to shake his head. Stuyven behind him for Trek Segafredo, of course, had kicked off a lot of this activity. And
the first quick step rider in there as well, Matteo Trentin.
Yeah, Trentin is on the blower. He's radioing back to Wilfred Peters and asking, what should I do? What do I do? Do I stay up here? Do we ride? Or...
The meantime, Von Marke attacking on the Leiberg. 36 kilometers to go. Von Marke on the Molenberg. Sagan in trouble, having to dig deep to try and get it back. Same with Gouja. Von Hecker is spent. And in the meantime, we have a counter-attack from behind. It looks as though it's Stieber. There were 3 left and 3 top-quality riders.
Be very aware of that. They have a minute to play with, so he's now backing off the power a bit. Sepp Van Marke seems to be going from back wheel to from last wheel to last wheel here.
So Van Marke it is. That is the first one to think about taking it easy, and now the game has begun. We're inside 5 kilometers to go, and Van Marke wanted to sit at the back of that group, but Peter Sagan is not going to allow that. Van Avermaet finds himself on the front, but you know instinctively that there'll be a little bit of soft pedaling about it. It's not full bore. Has a little look over his shoulder, wants to see will Van Marke come through. Now the row begins, and I tell you what, could well be Sagan that tries to take advantage of that. Now down to 4 kilometers with a minute advantage. Who is going to crack first? Who's going to fire first?
Oh, well, who's going to fire first?
Wind coming from the left-hand side of the road means they're making their turns from the right, and that's something to consider as they come up to the finish line as well. I can tell you at the finish line, it's pretty much a similar situation. Wind from the left. Will there be any sort of national rivalry between Van Avermaet and Sepp Van Marke? All 3 in different teams. Yes, and you try and do that. At the back of the group, but of course it's not as if the cameras of the world aren't. He just does it in front of Van Avermaet. I suppose they all know that this is a very different kettle of fish. A small group sprint at the end of 200 kilometers of hard classics racing. Well, that's a different thing altogether. Van Marke has tasted victory and tasted glory in Ghent in the past. Van Avermaet, the defending champion, and Peter Sagan going for his first victory in Het Nieuwsblad. Looks like he's going to. Well, is anyone going to come around him at this stage? Van Avermaet does. Well, what's the rule? You don't come around anyone in the last kilometre.
No, if you're in the certainly if you're in the last position here, that's the best place to be. You can see when the other guys are low.
This one is not the easiest thing. It's 200 kilometers in the legs, and of course a little bit of a ramp up to the finish line. And as you pointed out, Magnus, they're going to be starting this one from a little bit slower. They're into the barriers now, or into the closing stages, the final 300 meters. Who's going to fire first? Surely it needs to be as long a lead out as possible for the likes of Van Marke or Van Avermaet. It's Van Marke that goes first. Van Marke starts to wind it up. Sagan's alive to it. Van Marke has to go the long way. Van Avermaet gets the advantage there. It's between the 2 Belgians. Here comes Van Avermaet. Is anyone going to stop him defending the title? But Sagan is not giving up yet. Van Marke is out of it. So too is Sagan. It's Greg Van Avermaet backs it up to finish. finishes in first place in Het Nieuwsblad in successive seasons for the Belgian Greg Van Avermaet of Team BMC. It's a perfect event, and look what that means to the local man. Look at the excitement from the local crowd and indeed the press as they chase to get on terms with Greg Van Avermaet. No one to touch him, perfectly placed, perfectly executed sprint. And a 6 campaign then, it all went pear-shaped for him, but he's once more a great start to the season with Het Nieuwsblad.
Interestingly, Peter Sagan launches the sprint. He gets out of the saddle here and starts going with 300 meters to go. Set for market, then kicks, and it looks like Peter Sagan is actually missing that they're turning right here, and with that, Greg Van Avermaet just nips through the inside and gets the jump on Sagan, and Sagan just didn't have the legs to come back at him.
Yeah, there's a bit of a feeling that Van der Mark was, had to go the long way around Peter Sagan through that right start to the season with Het Nieuwsblad.
Interestingly, Peter Sagan launches the sprint. He gets out of the saddle here and starts going with 300 meters to go. Set for market, then kicks, and it looks like Peter Sagan is actually missing that they're turning right here, and with that, Greg Van Avermaet just nips through the inside and gets the jump on Sagan, and Sagan just didn't have the legs to come back at him.
Yeah, there's a bit of a feeling that Van der Mark was, had to go the long